So have you seen like the Marvel stuff?
No, I don't watch that. I don't watch movies for children. Sorry.
Oh my god.
I'm sorry. People get fucking
guys.
I can't stand
the pod's over.
I cannot stand. Speaking of movies, though, I love your shirt. I gotta say that's like one of my top.
It's funny because I've never seen this movie in my life.
Dude, get the fuck out of here! What the fuck are you doing?
I've never seen this movie in my life.
Guys, the podcast is over. God damn it, dude! What the fuck? You're like the stupid white bitch who fucking is wearing the Nirvana shirt and they play her Nirvana and they're like, oh, I don't know who the fuck this is. You're that motherfucker right now. How often are you TikToking?
How often are you TikToking? You sound like a boomer. Sounds like some shit my dad would say. But I don't know. I don't really make a lot of them, but I'm on TikTok a lot.
I'm TikToking every day, motherfucker. No. Well, like, I'm in college. Like, I go to college classes with, like, people who are 18.
Smart guy over here.
Go fuck yourself. Get the fuck out of my house. No, I'm
This
kidding.
is the McAllister hours.
Yes. Thank you for reminding everybody. I appreciate it. What the fuck was I even talking about?
I vote to start a petition to kill the people who post on Facebook about killing themselves and didn't go through with it. Oh my god.
Just trim the fat. That's what I say.
Now, did you come up with these or are these?
Yeah, no, this is just my fuck uppery.
That's so sick. Go do some stand up, dude.
I've thought about it.
That's the thing about the fucked up bucket.
This is my kind of shit, dude.
You can't read it until it's time to read it into the microphone. 'Cause that threw me the fuck off. Like,
Gabe saw his career flash before his eyes.
That baby got canceled.
You don't know who the baby is?
The baby.
Do you live under a
A
fucking
shitty
rock?
rapper. That's who the baby is.
Whoa, chill out.
No, I won't chill out. The baby's not
Kanye's
that good.
boy. One
Here's
Kanye's
the thing.
boys.
Here's the
Okay,
thing about
Kanye hasn't been good for what, 10 years?
Kanye's the
Are you
baby?
fucking kidding me?
Have
Yeah.
you not listened to his last
Graduation.
What? Jesus is our king? Go fuck yourself.
album? So what's wrong with that?
It's not good.
Yeah,
Why?
but he is our king.
Because his
Because you
rhymes
don't
are
understand it.
No, I understand
I like it.
religion.
Nah.
Are you kidding me?
You
No.
realize that
Alright,
album is
go
for
up.
his dead mother?
I don't give a shit. Oh, Donda? Yeah, it's by his dead mother, who he's been bitching about for forever and going crazy. Every month she's died for the past 10 years, including stalking his ex, threatening her current boyfriend.
I'm with Kanye. I'm with Kanye on that.
I don't
Because
give
he
a
ain't
shit.
stalking his ex. He's
Bring
stalking
back-
his wife and the mother of his
Oh,
children. She
it sounds
married
like
him.
you're rapping, dude. It
She
sounds like
wanted.
you're rapping.
She
That's
wanted
your
to get
second
married.
ex-husband.
She wanted to get married, right?
No,
And what
she's
did I
married
say?
two husbands at the time.
And what did I say?
Makes a
What did
better
I
point.
say?
What did you say?
What did I say when they
What
get
did you
married?
say?
They say it's through life and death, through sickness and through health.
She said that to more than one dude, my man.
He almost said it.
I did not almost say it. No. Kanye,
You almost said nigga.
I did not. I said my brother.
Say it. Say
I
it right
thought
now.
about saying my
Say
brother.
nigga right
I
now.
will not. There is a camera on me.
I'm asking you to
People
say
have
those.
bets on
But
this.
All right, let's pour him another shot. Let's pour him another.
People used to drop, they'd find drugs or weapons or whatever, and they put it in my mailbox. I'm like, what the fuck? Why is there crack in my mailbox? Like what?
That's hilarious.
Like with a note, I found this. I'm like, okay. Well, I don't smoke crack, so thanks for causing my paperwork on my day off, you know. But, you know, it's weird because then, you know, I'm just a citizen then, right? Like I'm not the City of Boone Police Department, so, you know, I'd have to call the police department and be like, hey, you know, somebody put fucking crack in my mailbox. You know, I'm like everyone else. Like if, you know, I find a pound of cocaine in my mailbox, I should call.
Yeah.
You know, unless I'm a criminal.
Yeah.
You know, I should probably call somebody and let them know. Otherwise, I'm going to take ownership of that, and then I become a criminal.
Okay, I gotta ask. What was it that put you in Facebook jail? How long are you in it for this? For this time?
I'm in for another 30 days. I was in for 30 days off of posting the picture about when the girl was in my inbox telling me to kill myself. And I was just like, look at this shit. It probably wasn't really a girl. It was a fake Instagram account.
Yeah, sure.
So they're trying to do like promo stuff. Like, oh, I love your music. How do you promote it? I'm like, shut the fuck up. Because I'm not fucking retarded, dude. Come on now. But nah, so I got 30 days for that. Then I was out for 10 days. I was free for 10 days. And people were like, I'd be willing to make a bet on how soon you get back. I'm literally going to pull bets this next time. I swear to God. But then I was talking to my homegirl. It's literally on a status that they shared about spitting in each other's mouths during like sex, right? It's like if that's a okay or not okay thing. And I'm like, dude, fuck no, this is not the vibe, bro. Like, I would spit in a girl's mouth, but I'm not trying to get my mouth spat in. No, sir. It's like, she said, my homegirl said something along the lines of, like, it's obviously a joke. She got a man. We just friends. But, like, she said something about, like, me getting my mouth spit in. And I was like, yeah, until I whop bamboo your ass. Literally got 30 days for that. For saying, because I'll whop bamboo your ass. Can you fucking like what?
Okay, you go hunting?
Fuck no, dude. I do not have the patience for hunting. Not at all, bro. I'll hunt for like a crackhead on the east side.
There's that motherfucker.
There he is. That's my bike. That's my bike.
Oh, motherfucker.
Knowing damn well that ain't my bike.
Goddamn, dude, you're too fucking funny. I love having you on the podcast, man.
Bro, that's what I'm saying, bro. Like living on the east side as a kid, that's what happened, dog. You ever stolen a stolen bike from a hobo? Probably one of the many things I'll have to answer for when I die, but
hey, it wasn't really a crime. It was an extension of a crime. I think you can give me a few less days in
right.
purgatory,
And see, it's like my karma hit me back because the bikes always got stolen anyways. So it was just a constant rotation of bikes. Pretty sure I probably got the same one twice. It was just stolen, spray painted, and I stole it back for some reason. Motherfuckers would do that shit, bro. Like, especially when we were kids on the east side, I'd steal a bike, paint it, and then ride it around, and then just totally like, bro, that's my bike. Nah, bro. I was like, bro, that's literally my bike. You just painted it.
And people easily forget that. I think people very easily like cast the entirety of Germany under the Nazi regime. Mm-hmm. And that really wasn't the case. I mean, they lied to a lot of their people about like what they were doing with the Jews. Like you see pictures of like Germans like walking out and seeing the camps and all the bodies, and they're terrified. They're like mortified.
The camps were away from civilization. That's what you don't understand. Like people didn't see that, and like there was a lot of Germans in the camps too for resisting.
Yeah,
or for harboring Jews and gypsies and some black people.
Yep, black people got a lot of black people.
Some there's like French black people and shit like that. They're still black people, but but France is right there.
They're not real black people.
Yeah, you're not black. The France black. No, I'm just kidding. French fry black. Yeah, bro.
A charred French fry. Bro. The French fry got left in the oven too. Bro.
That's it. Oui. Bro.
How hundreds of years after slavery, black people are still in chains?
Hey man, they icy.
I got one. We like it. It's culture. It's like fashion. Like okay. Damn, it's tough.
No,
I feel like it's a lot like the N-word, right? Like how they used to use the N-word negatively. We kind of like took it back and switched it around. So now
some letters, you know what I'm saying?
Now it's some positive shit.
All right, now
you know what's funny?
Terms.
You know what that's funny? That's funny with this Kanye thing. So now there's an N-word that black people can't say.
What is it?
Nazi.
Oh. Hey, if that song come on, if that Ye song come on, I'll be like, damn, these niggas got me. I hate these niggas more. I'm gonna say that every time.
Let me go backwards, okay?
Yeah.
So I was a long-haired hippie. I became a police officer. They fired me because I wouldn't shave my beard. I'm very proud of that. My chief of police was not the problem, but his mayor was the problem. There was a brand new mayor in town. You know, so if there's a new mayor in town, go get your hair cut.
Damn.
Yeah. So they fired me because I wouldn't get my my beard. I wouldn't cut my beard off, and then I was going to South America, and I'll be perfectly upfront about this too. I had $5,000. I had a red Ford van, and I had a Honda 350 CB, and I was going to South America, and I had $5,000 in my pocket, and my first stop was going to be Colombia. I was going to do a lot of cheap cocaine. At that particular point in time, I'd never done any cocaine, and so I didn't really have any idea what was going to happen when I did some cocaine. But on my first trip, we went overland, like I said, Morocco, Lebanon. Morocco, the keef, which is the pot, right, was I can't quite remember how much it cost, but I know that by the time we got to Lebanon, we were paying $1 a gram for a good red Lebanese hash.
Oh wow!
Yeah, no, that's not a bad deal, right?
Yeah.
Like, how many grams do you want?
Yeah, I think in California they got a deal like $5 a gram or something.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Well, by the time we got to Afghanistan, that good black Afghani was 2 cents a gram. Okay, I mean, even we were living on $1 a day. But we couldn't smoke up 50 grams of that black Afghani hash. So that was the trail we followed. It was very traditional back then. It's not like I invented this. There was lots of people doing exactly the same thing I was doing. It's like, where are you headed? I'm going east. Anyway, it's like, okay, well, if you want to do drugs and you don't have a lot of money, go where the drugs are. That was basically what we were doing. Yeah. So I was going to go. Can't believe I know you're not recording any of this, are you? Okay.
The first time I ever smoked, bro, I was in the 8th grade, dog. And I remember being on the bus, and my homie's like, "Hey, dog, you want to smoke this blunt?" And he pulls it out. I don't know what the fuck that thing is, bro. He's like, "You want to smoke this?" I was like, "Yeah, why the fuck not?" And dog, so we go in this alleyway, it's just random ass alleyway, bro. And he just pulls out a lighter, and he lights it up and we're smoking it. And, I mean, not thinking at the time, bro, I'm 13, 14, bro. What the fuck? And, dude, we smoked that blunt and I went into school. That was not a good day. It was not a good day. It's not a good day.
Dude, I've got a lot of good, first time I smoked stories. Yeah. And then a real first time I smoked story. Yeah. So the first time I smoked, I was probably a freshman in high school. And got some off of this kid at school and fucking went home, and I had nothing to smoke it out of, and I had no idea how to roll a joint. So I was like, I can't fucking roll this. I gotta make something. So I made this dumbass rig out of a fucking pop bottle and a straw. Don't ask me how, but I fucking tried. Didn't work at all. And I got really paranoid because then I remember my pops.
Did you crack pipe it? Were you
Dude, I was 100%. I just put that shit in the fucking cap and drill a hole through it.
One time I took fucking acid while I was on Adderall.
Holy shit.
That shit was crazy.
That sounds like not a fun mix.
Well, it wasn't. Well, it wasn't necessarily a bad trip. It was a fast trip. The trip happened in 10 minutes. I took the acid. I started 10 minutes in. I was just like, oh, I'm already tripping.
Dang, that doesn't happen very often.
Yeah. Well, what happened is I had taken an Adderall earlier in the day, and I forgot I'd taken an Adderall. And I was living in South Dakota at the time, and I was living with my now ex-wife and her brother, and her brother had an entire sheet of acid. Woo. So we would just pop them whenever. I just happened to pop one that day, and so I had a fucking. It was only a 7-8 hour trip. Because I take Adderall before, and they say that's actually a really bad combination. You can have psychosis doing
Holy
that.
Shit,
so don't do that. Don't take Adderall on acid. I was fine. Yeah, I survived.
That's good. I'm glad. Well, I mean, you can kind of lose your mind. You can kind of lose your mind doing acid anyway. That's also just a possibility.
Yeah. Do you prefer mushrooms or acid, or have you tried both?
I prefer mushrooms. I've had both.
See, I'm the opposite. I have murderous thoughts when I'm on mushrooms.
Really?
Yeah,
You're
like-
a fucking berserker, dog. You
Don't
got
give me
fucking
mushrooms.
Viking blood in your shit, dog.
Yeah, well, hey, I'm Irish, so I got that. I
Yeah,
got that.
true. That's all part of the
I got
line.
that angry shit in me for sure. No, I've had 2 different mushroom experiences where the person I'm with, I like want to stab them.
Damn.
And it's like both times it was my partner.
Really?
So it's
Ooh.
yeah. Which like, but like I'm not like
not
like,
saying you should kill your partner. Obviously, that's not what I'm saying at all. But like,
but that's the thing. Like I'm
red
not like
flag.
I'm not a violent.
flag.
But that's the thing. Like I'm not a violent person.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't beat the people I'm with. I don't.
No.
You know, nothing like that. Like
No.
So like that's always just disturbed me. And also like every time I take mushrooms, there's like this distant effect that I really don't like. Like people will be with me and they'll just seem like they're like, I don't know, like 3 yards further away than they are.
Oh,
and it's like they
interesting.
have like a daunting, like almost like a horror-esque look in their face.
Yeah.
Whereas acid is just like colors and like good vibes, you know?
I've heard of people having the face effect with acid before, but I guess I haven't experienced that personally.
Well, and you know, kind of going back to libertarianism, like you know, different drugs affect different people differently.
Yeah, for sure.
You know and that's kind of like my criticism against like the like the cannabis community, like really like kind of into correlating like mushrooms. Is like I think it gets to the point where it's like, oh, you smoke a joint, and like most of the time when you smoke a joint, you're probably gonna be okay. But then it's like, oh, then take these mushrooms. Like there is kind of like a free for all effect. I feel like around mushrooms where you hear a lot of stories of people just like thinking it's just like marijuana. It's not like
people do get really
marijuana.
casual with, but I feel like people get pretty casual with acid too. Like I feel like
sure.
I had a couple friends who did like a lot of acid in college. It's kind of wild to me. Like whenever I've done psychedelics, if it either like hits me and like fucking I go on a trip, or it just like doesn't really do much. I found so like I can't imagine like doing it casually. But anyway, but I had some friends who did it. One of the things that freaked me out about acid is like it's actually bad for your like spinal cord or something like that. It can like if you take enough of it, it can like give you MS or something.
Oh, I haven't heard that. I mean, I do know that it lives in your spinal cord. Like if they want to test it, they can just, or like they always have the myth that like if you break your back, you have like an acid flashback.
Yeah, I've heard that too. Or when you die or whatever.
There was this old lady that took a bunch of Oxycontin that I worked with, who like she would do that. She would like break her back. She'd be like, "Oh, I'm having an acid flashback." It's like, no, you're not.
No, you're not.
You're just on Oxy.
But you're just on Oxy. Please, you're just on Oxy.
Do you think that 9/11 was demolition?
I wasn't even born when that shit happened.
I was
bro.
in first
couldn't tell
grade.
you what the fuck was going on.
I was in first grade. I remember that going home early, but I didn't never understood why. I didn't know about bro, deadass. I didn't know about 9/11 until 5th grade.
What?
No funny
They're
shit.
You were
talking
born in
about-
95?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Bro,
you was definitely in. Yeah, you was definitely in the
like
first
I said,
grade
I was in
type
first grade.
shit.
I remember going home, but I didn't really recognize what the fuck it was because I remember in
like, don't worry
5th
about
grade, they were like, let's remember 9/11, and we made a whole big thing about it in our school.
This nigga
And a lot
looking
of us
around
5th graders are like, what the fuck is 9/11? And they started talking about it, and we were like, that's why we went home early. Oh, they shut down the whole damn country. It was crazy as fuck.
Joe Biden's open border is killing Ohioans, with more illegal drugs and more Democrat voters pouring into this country. Are you a racist? Do you hate Mexicans? The media calls us racist for wanting to build Trump's wall. They censor us, but it doesn't change the truth. Joe Biden's open border is killing Ohioans, with more illegal drugs and more Democrat voters pouring into this country. This issue is personal. I nearly lost my mother
Yeah,
to poison
clearly.
coming across our border. No child should grow up an orphan.
Wait, go back. What? What did he say? Go back a little bit. Yeah, there.
No child should grow up an orphan.
Good. Sorry,
I'm
go back
JD
a little bit
Vance, and I
more, a little bit more.
approve
Yeah.
poison coming across our border.
Yeah, a little bit more.
No
a little
child
bit
should
more.
grow up an orphan. I nearly lost my mother to the poison coming across our border. No child should grow up an orphan.
But like how? How can he just say that?
No, he said he said poison across the borders. He was talking about
I almost lost my mother to the what? Oh, he's talking about like the drug. Oh, I get it. Okay.
I
was confused.
I thought poison was just a low key like.
I thought that's what I thought at first too.
But it could mean that maybe it's just like.
Who knows? Because he didn't even fucking specify. He just said some vague ass like my mother died from the poison that came across the border. Like what?
So you talking about Mexicans? Like you was.
So are you saying that like a Mexican stabbed your mother? Or are you saying that the drugs that they brought killed your mother? Or like, what the fuck are you saying?
Like, what was your mother doing drugs anyway?
Jesus Christ. This is Ohio? Oh my God.
He just blatantly said it, bro. He ain't care. He's like, do you hate it's like, do you hate Mexicans?
That's the point. Dude, that's what happens when you take Trump off Twitter, man.
Yeah. he's building his Trumpites. His army's coming.
Yeah, did you hear Elon Musk bought like 9% of it? He has the largest share of Twitter now, Elon Musk.
Oh no, I didn't know that. Damn.
Yeah.
That makes sense,
his mom was hospitalized due to heroin overdose.
That's
his mom?
Maybe your mom should be more careful what she does. Shit. The fuck? Don't blame it on nobody. Like blame your mom for having like heroin. It's like and that's not me being a jerk to like knowing addiction, but like she made a decision to put the needle in her. So don't blame that on Mexicans. Like the fuck? My mom died of heroin and I blame Mexicans. Like what the fuck does that sound like?
A Mexican broke into her house and injected her with heroin. She's dead because of you bastards. Stay the fuck out of Ohio. I want to say something about the word retarded, okay? The thing that nobody points out about the word retarded. People who are retarded do not give a fuck if you say the word retarded. I guarantee you that there's not like a social justice warrior group of retards who are fucking getting pissed about this. I guarantee you. The only people that care are their fucking moms. And like the people who like have relatives. And like that's fine, but like I'm not talking about you, you know? I'm not even talking about your relative. Like that's the thing that like gets to me with this fucking like when people get all offended and butthurt. It's like, oh, how dare you? It's like, no, I'm making fun of everything. That's my mode. That's what I do, you know?
Buddy, some horny ass motherfuckers. I ain't gonna lie. Niggas is horny. We got some freak ass people out here. Motherfuckers is freaky. Like I ain't gonna lie, this is a generation of the freaky and the freaky gangsters. This is the freaky gangster generation. I swear to God. The freaky gangster generation. Cause only thing you heard was about the LGBT and all this sexuality and shit like that. And then you got the fucking, you gotta be a thug too. So this is the freaky gangster. This is the freaky gangster generation. I mean, genre, era, whatever this is. This is the dude. That's all you see.
A rainbow painted Glock.
Yo. And then you got these girls, hot girls, summer and shit. Gotta be all this bullshit. Like, damn.
Can you imagine that? Somebody pulls up in a fucking like, they have like a rainbow fucking pimped out car. They just have like a rainbow Glock.
Just, yeah. And then they. Bro, if I see that in GTA, I'm gonna cut off my game. I'm gonna be like, yep, it's time for me to just play Madden.
I don't know if you heard, but the GTA 6 is coming out. They had the controversy because they have a female character now.
Oh yeah,
like
that's gonna be interesting.
Get her butt naked.
I hope so.
I ain't gonna lie. The GTA 5, they got your character to be able to like shower and shit. I bet you gonna have the guys in that bitch. Let me get her in the shower. Let me see what she looks like.
They probably took that idea from Saints Row, having that girl character.
Boy.
Be on that bike.
Nah, cause Saints Row.
I can't get into that.
Saints Row, you can make your character freaky as hell. I'm like, what? Cause I got Saints Row 3, bro. I'm up there looking at all the like the designs on how you can create your persons and stuff like that. I went to the female thing. I'm like, damn.
They got that bitch looking bad as hell.
Yeah,
Boy.
you can make her tits like fucking water, like
I know, like I'm like, dude.
like bouncy
I had to
balls.
stop playing that. I had to stop playing that game. I'm like, what? This is not even a game no more. What?
Not even playing it. I'm playing for 20-minute increments, and then
This is not even a game. No, you got these people just creating players in that bitch.
oh fuck, I'll be right back.
Gotta make a new player. This one's gonna be Asian. Not for real. You can make them different races on that bitch. I'm like,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah, it's amazing how far we've come.
Oh yeah.
So you think we should be legal?
Yeah.
You think coke should be legal?
No. No.
Shrooms? I'm just gonna list like 3.
Shrooms would be okay.
He's
Okay.
He's like,
so pretty much.
I've been hot this whole fucking time. No.
So pretty much.
Um,
Okay, I got you though. So it's just specific ones that should be in your head, not just none of them.
that should be.
Yeah.
Like I have you think I have multiple things that I want legalized or don't care about?
I don't know. Weed,
Weed's cool.
shrooms.
Acid.
Squeak by.
LSD.
No.
You're about to hurt me, man.
Does that stop you from doing it? My bad.
He's gonna go take it and be like, man, Doozy just doesn't fuck with this.
He doesn't support this. No, I don't. No, I don't think it should be legalized. Like I don't know. It's like I can't.
I get you with the meth and the coke, or not the coke, the crack.
Heroin.
I get all that. Yeah.
You think that should be legal?
No, I feel you on that. That's like some deadly shit. That like.
I don't think anything you can overdose on.
Yeah, but I think the reason that people do that usually is because it's either mixed in with other bad substances that are going to counteract and kill the person, or they're uneducated about it. So I think if you educated people, that they would. Like, if you have a pill bottle and it says, "Hey, don't take more than one of these," that's a lot more helpful than like, "Oh, hey, here's a bag." You know, have
I
fun.
feel like the same shit's gonna happen. Like, cause like on like cigarette packs it says Surgeon General warning.
Sure, but that
motherfuckers still get throat cancer and shit because they continue to smoke.
Well, yeah, but
it's
I
like
mean,
a warning.
Sure, but like I mean, you know, there are people who are going to do that kind of stuff regardless. There are people who are going to have their vices, and people are going to do addictive things. And if like, I think what the really comes down to is like, do they deserve to sit in a cage for like consuming a substance? And I don't think so.
You mean like should they go to jail for doing something?
Yeah, I don't think they should. Like, I think-
Crackheads? You don't think crackheads should?
No.
I think crackheads should. It's because crackheads should be in jail. I'm gonna say exactly why.
To all the crackheads.
I'm gonna say
watching.
this right now. Why crackheads should be in jail is because they get a quick detox real quick.
Real quick.
You get detox, and then you can get off of that and fucking smoke some weed or something. You ain't gotta be a crackhead, bro. Crackheads are just irritating to me. It's like, it's not, really, it's like, bro.
He's like, just the thought of
It's
him.
like,
is
bro,
just-
like, come on, man. And like, don't get me wrong, I meant nice.
I have to be very careful with like breaking that conspiracy down to people who seriously believed at that time that conspiracy was real. Like, I have certain people in my circle where I can't tell them, like, we never landed on the fucking moon. What the fuck are you talking about? You obviously fucking know this with today's technology that was not gonna fucking happen. And they'll bark up a tree and they'll be like, oh, what are you fucking talking about? It was on the fucking TV. I'm like, look how easy it is to be emulated. Look how easy it is. We could have just took a fucking camera to a set prop and then you could have just believed it. Put some like grainy gradient shit in front of the lens and just completely fooled you. I'm like, there's no way that we could have went to the moon. I'm like, why do you say that? I'm like, look at the fucking science in it. It's not going to happen. So then there were some people in my circle who seriously thought the earth was flat. Nothing against them. I'm like, everybody can believe what the fuck they want. But when it comes to a point where a guy's like, I'm going to set a fucking rocket up into the sky and I'm going to prove that the world is not flat, and he fucking dies, I'm not going to sit there and believe that it's flat. There's things called orbit. It's a ball going it's going in a gyroscopic centrifugal force, thousands of miles an hour. It's going to have to circle itself out. It's kind of like when you mix a ball of dough in a mixer, how it ends up turning into a ball. It's just like it's a big mixer. It's not going to be flat. It never is. It's constantly like amoebic, and the only time it's going to be flat is if it's like contained in a flat area. But space just keeps going.
Yeah.
You know, we may not be like circular, but we're definitely round.
Yeah. So are you saying you don't think that the moon landing is real?
No. Fuck no. Because of the Van Allen radiation belt and shit like that. You know, we may say... The thing is, NASA gets certain types of information that we are then to be, like, indoctrinated to fucking believe. I believe that. I'm like, nah, I don't know about all that shit. And then I saw a movie, what was it called? Like, they had Ron, the guy who played Harry Potter.
Daniel
and then
Radcliffe.
Moonwalkers?
What?
There's a movie called Moonwalkers where they talk about the whole Stanley Kubrick, where it was like they paid Stanley Kubrick to stage the whole moon landing.
So you're saying that you believe that, and you think that.
Well,
you
not like
100%,
100%, but I'm more of a person where I'm like, well, with how much they want to sit here and try to make people believe shit, why wouldn't I think that wouldn't be something that they would stage? So that's kind of where I'm at with that. I don't think that we had that. I think it was just a space race, and then they just said that we landed on the moon just to make it sound like we actually won the fucking race. And there's been many times where, like, people have done that, and then it's like, no, you didn't really fucking win. You know, you completely fucking cheated on that shit.
Well, I feel like I'm going to say I disagree, but...
What religion were you raised as?
Catholic. I think you and I were both.
Me too. It's so interesting. I've never heard somebody say they're Catholic. It's always, I was raised Catholic. Like, no one fucking sticks with it. See, but, like, I like Catholicism, not as, like, a personal belief, but as a storytelling community. Because, like, like, if someone's Methodist or Presbyterian, like, all that shit, like, I don't respect it purely because it's not, like, the OG. Like, I went to a Easter service a year ago, and, like, they showed a TV screen where it was, like, every movie that has ever said, like, he's back or he's returned, like, not even like talking about God, like, they had like Harry Potter clips in there. I was just like, and then like the preacher came out and he was like a cool guy, and they had like not even like a choir, it was like a guitarist and an awesome singer, like, because it was my girlfriend's sister is like the head musician for this church, and like that was all great, it was all cool, but I'm just like, I like the guilt. I like the fire and brimstone of Catholicism. I like the idea, like, if you fuck up, you fucked up for real. God's not your buddy. God's gonna beat the shit out of you if you don't stay in line. Like, it's just like, I like that because I like the fairy tale. That's why I like old Brothers Grimm fairy tale. They're like, no, like people die, like fucked up shit happens. Like old fairy tales, not like Disney-fied ones. Like, I like classic fucked up shit.
Yeah, like I don't give the Catholic Church like really any credit, but that is probably the one place I will give them credit. Is that
that's the only place
they at very least like have that standard.
They stuck with it, like, because like their Eucharist, this is the body of Christ. This isn't a fucking wafer. Like, no, like the priest picks it up, sings out of tune, and it becomes flesh. And you better eat that shit, but only if you fucking believe. And, like, I respect that.
It has to be a semitone and a half.
Yeah. God. I loved my priest, though. Not physically, but, like... No, he was great, though. I really liked him.
Oh, he had a pretty good-sized cock. You know?
Like, a mouth would water, but it wouldn't gag. It's great.
Did you do anything crazy when you were in Vegas?
Not really. I met a hooker.
Or anything like that? Oh, you did?
Yeah, on accident.
How much did she cost?
$35. $35. Let's just put that out there. I didn't pay for her services. I just I don't necessarily believe in that, but whatever.
Yeah.
No, it was the night that we landed there. We were out. It was like 3 a.m. So like there. So it would have been like, I don't know, like 5 a.m. here or something like that. And So I'd never been in Vegas, right? Had no idea that like prostitution is totally cool with everybody down there. And like, so I walk up to this lady. It was right in front of the Flamingo, like right where Tupac was shot too, ironically, and not ironic at all, actually. Now that I think about it. Anyways, so I've been like, I had my camera with me. I was like taking photos, taking videos of us just acting a fool and whatever, and I see this lady and she's like standing there in like this like sparkly lingerie, and she's got these like wings on and everything, and I'm like, oh, Vegas, like she's an entertainer of some sort, you know, like a street performer or something. That was my initial thought, right?
Yeah.
So I walk up to her and I'm like, hey, can I like get a picture with you? And with my camera, by the way. So I have my camera and I'm like doing like I like to call them ussies, and I was doing an ussie, and she's like, all right, that'll be $35. And I was like, this is like my camera. Like I asked, like, what? Like I already have the footage. Like I can just run and be fine. Like, and I was like, no, I'll give you $10. Like I'll give you $10. You're standing out here on the street. Like sure, I'll tip you $10. Like that I can justify. So I give her $10, and this is on footage, by the way, afterwards. And she's like starts like flirting with me and all this. And at the end of the clip, she's like, I really like your shirt. I'm literally wearing a shirt that says "Blame it on the pussy." And like, which is like terrible. It's Andy Frasco. It's an Andy Frasco song. So it's a band shirt, but it just says "Blame it on the pussy." Anyways, okay, so I give her this $10. I'm like, yeah, you know, whatever. Like I can justify this, and she's like, for another $25, I'll give you my phone number. And I was just like, no, thank you, later. Everybody, like, I was just like, no, I'm not doing this, like, whatever. And then I walk up, my group of friends has now, like, accumulated into one spot, and they're just watching me talk to this hooker. Doesn't say a thing to me, doesn't, like, try to get me out of the situation or anything. They're just watching this all go down. And I walk up to them, I'm like, kind of, like, shell-shocked, and then they're like, Jaden, we're in fucking Vegas for, like, 3 hours, and you already find a hooker? I'm like, she was a hooker? I was like, I had no idea she was a hooker, dude. Why didn't you tell me? Like, why did you grab me out of that situation? Like, she could have taken all
gone to an
ATM. All these city girls, look at all these people they know. A country girl, a real country girl, she only know about a handful of people.
That's facts, and that's why
you keep her on the farm. If she milking that cattle, she riding that saddle.
That's why they're so fucking freaky. I'm telling you,
right?
Dude, they got a racist dad. I'm telling you on that, bro.
That's all you need.
On that, because if they got a racist dad, I'm telling you, this is what I've always found out. Because I bagged a couple of them in my high school. They got a racist dad, and they like black guys. They don't like their fucking dad, and since they live where they live, they don't really like have a lot of contact with a lot of people. So you get down with them, you get down in the dirty, they extra freaky. Because, like, they want to let all that shit out because they never fucking get what they need. And then on top of that, they making their dad mad who they don't like. And, like,
they fucking harder.
Oh, man, they just
extra hard.
Extra crazy.
Let me ask
like,
you.
I got to get into this deeper.
Let me ask you guys a controversial question. Do you think black people, black men specifically, are getting sexually exploited?
For good reason.
That's the thing.
We deserve
right?
it.
They don't even like. You guys
I'm not
care.
dark skinned, so I feel like in that category I don't fit. Listen, bro, I'm sitting on the average over here. All right, I do my thing in the sheets, but you're probably not gonna see me in no famous porn video, bro. I ain't got an extra arm down there.
Shit, y'all might see me.
I got an extra something though. I'll be doing that at work, but
OnlyFans dropping soon.
Man,
I got a couple movies.
I said that one day as a joke that I was gonna make an OnlyFans, and I had too many dudes respond to it and make me uncomfortable, and I was like, bro, I gotta delete that.
The hidden on my phone. Step.
I did shrooms twice, and it was nothing crazy, man, because I was already drunk as shit, and I probably smoked fucking K2 and I guess I did normal bag, and fucking I had one bad halluc. I was in a fucking taxi.
Oh,
this is back when Ubers. Like I was actually in a taxi. I took a taxi. This is back before Uber, dude. I was like 14, 15, and it was crazy. I'm talking.
I shouldn't even be saying this shit on the shit, dude, because I ain't told no one this, man. I'm talking one night, dude. All I drink is Patron. So even at a young age, I was drinking Patron. So all night it was Patron, K2, and I didn't even do it yet. I've never done it. It was just that night. Never done it. Patron, K2. Then we smoked normal bag. So they had some normal fire. We smoked some normal fire.
What's K2s? That's synthetic?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
And how, sorry, not to interrupt, but like, how is that? Like,
it was, I only did a little bit, dude. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
You're already too fucked up.
Yeah, it was all of a mixture, dude. But next thing you know, at the end of it, we smoked normal. And like, even like, I think that same night we did Air Duster. Yeah. Like,
dude, what the fuck?
Dude, it was a wild party, dude. I'm not capping, dude. I was so too young to be there. Everyone was older than me. And it was a lot of bad things just happening, man. But like I'll never forget, dude, my buddy who invited me to the party, he ended up crashing there. I still had to leave. Like, I snuck out. So like I had to go home. And so I was like, fuck, dude, how am I gonna get home? My buddy just passed out. He was gonna give me the bread to give to the taxi guy to get home. And so I had to wake him up. And so I woke him up. He gives me the money. We're all like fucking tweaking now, dude. Like literally Air Duster, all that was shit was happening. Like I watched this dude choke one dude out while he was playing PlayStation. Literally just choked him out, and then he just like laid him down, and then he just like, kept playing PlayStation. And I'm like, damn, dude. I'm like, dude, sleep on the bed, and then he woke up, and he just like was pissed. He was like, you really fucking. He's all drunk too. He's fucking tweaking. He was like, you really fucking did that, man. And then he's like walked out the room all pissed. I'm like, he just choked him out, dude. And then so it was just all bad, dude. So I go to wake up the guy, give me the money. He gives me the money. He actually gives me a lot of money, more than you're supposed to.
No.
But I didn't realize it till the next morning. Like in my mind, he gave me like $60. No, it was like 600. Yeah, dude. He was just like, "Fuck, bro, here, man." Boom, gave me it right. But I'm so hit, I didn't even look at the money. I'm just like, "Oh, okay, thanks, man." Put it in my pocket. Call the taxi. Taxi picks us up, and we're tweaking. Like, I knew the K2 shit was bad. Yeah, I knew that shit was bad. Like, I knew that when I did it, so I literally probably took, I want to say, one hit. It's not like I got happy with that shit. I took one hit just because everyone else was. So I was like, I guess I'll fucking do one. I guess. Yeah, well, I'm doing it in a room, dude, with fucking 9 Mexicans, and they're all just getting crazy in here, man. And I can't just be like, nah. And so either way, it happened. And taxi picks us up, dude. And this brings me all to this one hallucination that I'll never forget, dude. And it was such a bad night. But we're in the taxi, and I remember I was in the back seat. My buddy's right here, just like he is. And he's tweaking. I just remember I like looked over at him. I look in the front seat, and I swear to God, I just seen like 2 or 3 little squirrels in the taxi. And I always tell everybody this story because dead ass, I'll never forget it. Like I remember staring, and I was like, I'm tweaking. I was like, I knew I was tripping. I knew I was tripping hard because I'm like, that's not real. And then like one like climbed up the seat, and the guy's just still driving. And that's how I knew I'm tweaking, but I didn't want to say anything.
Yeah. What the fuck do you...
I'm just silently just like, that's not real. That's not real. We're not doing this. I was like, I'm so hit, dude. The room's spinning, fucking Patron, normal bag. It was just a long night of Coronas, and I was just like, I just can't say anything, right? And I look over at my buddy, and my buddy's looking at me, and he's like, are you okay? And I'm just like, yeah, bro, we're good here. We're good here. Don't trip. I don't want to freak him out, but really in my mind, I am freaking out because I am looking at this squirrel look at me on this headrest. Like he's just, and then the other 2 are in the seat just chilling. And the dude's talking the whole time, and I'm not even hearing a word. I'm just focused. Yeah.
So I went to bed at like 3 a.m. and I got woke up before 5:30 because I was like, oh man, I'm late. Why didn't my alarm go off? I'm like, oh, my alarm doesn't go off for a half an hour. But they were like, Austin, you just get the fuck up. And I was like, damn, everyone was a little upset. They were feisty in the morning. So fucking one of the systems didn't get covered by a tarp. So that was our stage that opened up. That was the stage running during the day at the same time as our main stage. So that didn't get covered. And we were like, we can't turn that bitch on. So like I had to go out there. We got some tarps on it. We got it as covered up as much as we could. And then we had to get the barn stage opened up to put every artist on that day, and we were gonna have inclement weather all day, so like we just had to be prepared to move every artist to the barn, even the headliners. So we got that ready, and both stage ran all day until like 5 o'clock. Ches was on, Cheese, either one. He responds to either is what I hear. But he goes by Cheese, and he was absolutely destroying it. About 20 minutes into his set, we had to call a rain delay, and that lasted for like hours. But about 2 hours in, we were able to get the main stage open and get the rest of the hip hop done, and then we were able to run Cheese, Zen Selector, Chef Boyer Beats, a few of the national acts. I was getting really scared though, because like the system was only like one 21-inch subwoofer, and like we had some really good acts there. Cursa and Kill Bill, like their music just deserves to be on a loud system and a quality system like the Function ones we had, and the visual aspect of it adds to the whole experience. So I knew that like I could get those artists on and I'd be okay, but I really wanted to get them because Cursa's from overseas, and I would have been super sad if he would have had to play on 21-inch subwoofers. And then Kill Bill, they're in Colorado, but like they don't do tours. This is like their first tour in a while. So I was really stoked to be able to finally get the generator working, because after the storm we went out to fire up the generator. We got through the storm and we're like, all right, let's get KXB, Kill Bill, and Cursa in this fucking, let's go. The sound guy was like, we're going to go till 4 a.m. It was like, honestly, it was just a moment of just straight bliss. Everybody was so happy. And then we go out there to turn on the generator and it's just chug, 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 chug. And that goes on for like an hour. We had diesel techs there. We had electricians there. Dude, there was like 7 qualified people like working on this generator, and we couldn't get it. Finally, we found a number on the generator. We called a CAT technician, and they fucking sent somebody out. This guy, I watched him the whole time, locked in. All this guy did was press a fucking bunch of buttons and then go and start it, just like everyone else was doing. But he had a certain way to do it. They still haven't told us what was wrong with that generator, because I've emailed them a few times, not a bunch, but a few times, like, what was wrong with the generator? I think that we deserve either I think that we deserve a little discount, because that took out a few of our national artists that we paid more money than what we paid for the generator. So we wanted a discount, and they're just like, nah, it was weather related. Like, you guys should have rented more generators for a backup generator. And I was like, oh, we should have rented more of your faulty generators. But yeah, so that was a vibe kill. The night was a bunch of ups and downs. The weather killed it. And then the weather cleared up for a few hours, thought we could get the headliners in, and then the generator killed it. But then the diesel tech came out, fixed the generator, and then we were able to get Kill Bill and Cursa. So Field Trip, all in all, a huge success in my books. Like a lot of people liked it. I think it's going to have great retention. People are going to come back, and I think that it can keep growing for sure. I think that a lot of people who missed it are going to want to be back, and we don't plan on like slowing down.
What do you think about, the possible oversaturation of music that we're seeing? Like, do you, especially on guitar, I can imagine there's a video for probably, anything. Do you worry or wonder about that at all?
No, not really. I don't. That's kind of a hard question. Because I don't think there's an oversaturation. I mean, maybe there is. I don't know. I don't know how to answer that question. You stumped me. There you go.
Hey, that's a first.
I'm speechless. I'm just trying. I'm trying to think the logical answer to that. No, I don't. I don't think we're oversaturated in a market. I mean, live music is live music, and
yeah.
Whether you're just a guy sitting there playing a guitar, or whether you got a backing track behind them, or I don't know how that's going to work out in the future.
Yeah,
I might not be around. Who knows? I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing, right?
Yeah.
I'm a firm believer that you don't have to go stand in a, kind of like Dave Grohl said that too. You don't have to go stand in a line to get on TV to try to be the next superstar. I think if you just put the hard work in and work on your craft and your trade, and you're going to get better at writing songs, and that if you're good, people are going to notice you, and then they're going to tell their friends, and their friends are going to come see you and tell their friends, and that's kind of just the way it is. But you got to get out there and you got to beat them streets to do it.
So yeah, I mean, I think that's true. Like with podcasting too. Like there is like a certain like word of mouth element that is like that does seem to hold amongst like any algorithm or anything on the internet.
Yeah, and I think word of mouth will beat social media any day. You know, I mean, I wouldn't have known about you if it wasn't for Pete. You know, so then I started watching yours. I wouldn't have known about Mike Schulte's if it wasn't for Peter. You know, and I'm not one to get into the huge podcast game by any means, but I enjoy them. They're fun to listen to. You know, they're educational. You learn a lot from them. They're just enjoyable to listen. Oh man, I haven't talked to this guy or seen this guy over here, but now he's going to be on this podcast. Let's listen to him. You know, see what he's got to say.
Oh yeah.
So that's what's kind of cool about it. But I think word of mouth is social media is huge. Yes, you know, of course it is. I think social media has outdone radio. I think social media has outdone newspaper, and magazines, anything like that. But I still think word of mouth is huge. I would say second to social media. You know.
Yeah, I mean, I think that also speaks to like localization in general.
Yeah.
You know, I think like with there being such like an uptick and a rise in all the social media, there is like almost like a current against it with like, you know, promoting localization and promoting like, you know, like we're talking about word of mouth.
Right.
This person does this, etc. Versus just like, you know, because if the algorithm was more free, I think it would maybe stand more of a chance. But yeah, I mean, it is constructed in a way, it is I can't speak. Mathematically put together in like a formula, and like
it is.
You know, you're given certain things because of, you know, basically because they use math to read your brain. It's crazy.
Which ironically is why I think TikTok is on their big rise right now. Because, because they're wide open right now. That may change in their algorithm eventually, but you know, Facebook is, and then they changed stuff again not too long ago.
They're changing all the time.
All the time.
When I was young, I just never felt like everybody else. I always felt different. I felt like an alien. I know I was a minority in Kansas. Like after I grew up in Kansas City, Kansas, and then house burnt down and moved to Baser, Kansas. It's a small town. And I was like the only Mexican kid there. The rest are white kids, you know? So then I would get in a lot of like arguments and fights, and they would be like, oh, well, Johnny's making fun of me for this. But they were making fun of me for my skin color, bro. Like somebody would be like, oh, he made fun of me because I'm too short, you know? And I'm like, bro, you were making fun of me for my skin color. And I came back with that. Or I was arguing with some kid who was fatter than me, and he was just clowning on me for being Mexican, and everybody in the class is laughing. The teacher is watching me. I make 2 comments about him being fat, and then I get the detention. You know? So I never felt like anybody was on my side or anything, and I always felt like an outsider. And my sisters, they were the ones that I can kind of relate to the most. I grew up with them. Their blood, their family. They were always older than me. I was the youngest. And they always came up with some crazy-ass ideas. We had this damn Ouija board, bro. Yeah, bro. So I don't like people. You don't have to believe in ghosts. You don't have to believe in God. But I gotta tell this story because it's a legit.
You're not offending anyone here, man. You're
good. Somebody listening, like they might be like, "Oh, Ouija board. Wait, I mean, he's lying." But I'm telling you, like I don't know, like 7, 8 years old. This was before I could really comprehend MMA and wrestling and boxing and everything. I think I was just like a dumb kid watching cartoons, playing video games, you know? I didn't know much, and I was kind of slower, young. And we take this glow-in-the-dark Ouija board. When we moved from Kansas City, Kansas to Baser, Kansas, we moved in this... we thought it was a house when I was a kid, but it was a fucking trailer built, and it had a fucking basement. Concrete basement. It was a trailer though. It was out in the middle of nowhere. Right next to us was a cemetery. It's called Holy Angel Cemetery. We would fucking climb the barbed wire fence, go into the cemetery, and use the Ouija board. Like geniuses, right? Like that's brilliant. Still to this day, I see ghosts and like they'll do stuff. Shit will fall, and I'm like, there's ghosts around me, but they're not harming me. But they're like, haha, bro, we're here. And I'm like, all right, bro. Like I messed up as a kid. We played with that Ouija board too much. And one time it was like my sisters and I and my cousin, and we were in Just where they put like the coffins on the dead bodies, bro. We were literally sitting with this Ouija board, doing this Ouija board, bro, at night, bro. Like, bro, yeah. I don't know what we were thinking. My sisters are probably listening right now, laughing. They don't really remember the conversation, but I remember this conversation because they wouldn't let me touch the Ouija board. They thought I was gonna lie and mess it up, so I had to sit and watch my sisters and my cousin do it, and they were asking questions and. It was like getting crazy. They were like, "Who's gonna get married first?" Out of all my sisters, my cousin, and then it like said my cousin, and that was right. And it was like, "Who's gonna get pregnant first?" And it said my cousin, and it would like go down the line and tell them like what's gonna happen. I don't remember if it was accurate on them. I'm pretty sure it was though. I'm pretty sure it was really fairly accurate. Well, they get to the end, and I'm like, "Well, what about me? Like, I'm not using the Ouija board. I'm not the one touching it, but I'm on the outside." And I'm like, "Bro, like I'm here. What about me?" And they were like, "What about Johnny?" And the Ouija board, it like freaks me out to this day. It spells out knockout. And at the time, I didn't know what that meant. I was like, "What does that mean?" My sister was like, "Oh, you're gonna be handsome when you're grown." Obviously, that didn't work out, you know. So it's kind of crazy that Ouija board predicted I was gonna be a professional fighter. Like it said knockout, and I never knew. At the time, I wasn't grasping the concept. Like, man, I'm gonna be a professional. I was like, what does that mean? And for the longest time, I was like, what does that mean? Until I was an amateur fighter and I started knocking people out, and I was like, maybe that's what that meant. Started putting it took me like 20 years, but that's one reason. Like, MMA has been drawing me, and not only that, something about combat has been telling me I need to do this. And then, so we do that Ouija board, and one of my sisters does it again. Her and I are doing it this time. And I remember the Ouija board telling me that I was going to die at like 34 or 36. I remember crying, being a little kid. My dad comes up and he gets mad, like, "Why are you crying?" And my sister tells him, like, "It wasn't me, it was the Ouija board, like, I promise." And like, I believe her. Like, she wasn't really, I don't think she was doing it to be ill will. If she was, she would have been like, "Okay, I'm sorry." She would have felt guilty. But I was like crying and like, damn, I'm not going to live to see 40? Like, what? Like, I remember like freaking out. And my dad being mad, and he burned the Ouija board then. That's the last time I saw Ouija board. Yeah, for real.
I'll be damned if I let somebody else make decisions for me. You can influence me, but you're not going to make a decision for me.
Yeah,
I know a lot of people that just be like, "I can't do it. It's illegal. I can't do it because they said no. I have to take these medications because that's what my doctor told me." I have a buddy who he's got severe anxiety.
Yeah.
And he's a firm believer that he has to take his medications, otherwise he's just going to freak out. I'm like, dude, I was diagnosed with severe anxiety. How I cope with it is I overwork myself. It's probably not the healthiest thing to do, but me overworking myself has made me successful.
Yeah, it's undoubtedly better than taking medication.
Yeah, the medications make you a zombie, make you dumb.
Yeah, I was on that for years too.
Yeah, so you know personally, like, you take the medications, you become something different. It might help, but it's because it's altering who you are as a person. It's calming you down by fucking with your chemicals and shit.
I think there are rare circumstances where people, you know, I think it's a good idea to take Xanax. But like every day, I think it actually does the opposite of what you're trying to do. It actually decreases your anxiety threshold. So things that like would normally not make you as anxious now make you more anxious because you have this, you know, threshold for anxiety being shortened because you're getting this relief.
And I could understand that. So it's like, it's one of those things of, I feel each person, whatever your depression or your anxiety or whatever it is, unless you get like the multi-personality, bipolar, sudden snaps type shit, I feel like there's something out there that could help you cope better than taking the meds. Like for me, it was music. Being busy for me. September 2nd is my sister's memorial. I got hit. So I watched my sister die when I was younger. It's my very first memory I've ever had. So I relive that all the time. And like, for me, it's been 25 years now. I've spent 25 years trying to find a better way to deal with it. I've gotten in legal trouble trying to find ways to deal with it. I've drowned myself in alcohol and substance abuse to try to get away from it. 1 year, I just went out riding my motorcycle, got hit by a drunk driver, almost died. Like, just trying to find ways to cope with it better. I found for me to cope with it, I just stay busy. I don't go outside. I just busy. If I'm outside, it's moving to the next thing. So Friday, which was the 2nd, we did a studio session, went to Waterloo, had like 6 different meetings, a studio session. I got home, it was like 1 o'clock in the morning. I went straight to bed. I woke up next day, had to do some shit. Today, same thing, over and over and over. And so far, this is the first year I haven't either gotten in legal trouble, gotten in physical altercations, or just had a complete mental breakdown. I've been good, but I've stayed busy. Versus my buddy, he's probably going to take medications and just drown himself in his room in a situation like this. I feel like every person has something that will help them cope with whatever they're dealing with. They just might not have found it yet. That's why some people have music, some people have art, some people have podcast or comedy, or they work out, whatever it is. They found something different. Each person that has an addiction to working out probably could have been prescribed pills instead of working out. But instead, they found a healthy way to do it. It's still an addiction. You go every day, multiple times a day. You spend your entire time doing it or whatever. That's still an addiction. Addiction is an unhealthy way to handle something. But you can label anything as an addiction anymore. So it's like, it's a weird threshold with all that.
Yeah. Well, you're really tapping into like our like, you know, biological, like prehistoric nature. Like I believe, you know, a big believer that the reason why there's so much anxiety in our society is because we're not like in the woods hunting for our food and building shelters and doing all these things that like, you know, people would consume their entire days just surviving. Yeah. Like, and we don't even have a remote amount of that anymore. Yeah. We microwave our food and like watch TV, you know what I mean?
It's now it's the way to find yourself busy sometimes gives you more anxiety. Like, you get, like when you think about it, you get bored and you're like, fuck, I need to do something. Yeah. Like, what is there to do? And then you start to get anxious because you're trying to find something to do, and you start to have this you know, overload of emotions, and you just kind of snap.
It's like a cycle.
Yeah. And so I agree. You know, back in the day, it was hunting, gathering, and you were just staying busy at all times.
But let's say you don't agree with like LGBTQ being involved in school curriculum and all that, and like it's not coming from a hateful place and stuff like that. If you have this one idea and you consider yourself like on the liberal side, like you get exiled for that, you get crucified, like you're a sinner, you know, almost. So like, and again, like it's not saying that this person's. I'm not to judge this fabricated person I made up, but it's just like in that space, the fact that they kick you out, judge you, and shame you. That's what religion does.
The problem with liberalism is you can never be woke enough. Mm-hmm. You know, I like, and on that point specifically, like the LGBTQ stuff, like. You know, I think there's a line where people are, you know, most people are like, okay, like, yeah, I think, you know, children being taught in general that there are people who are homosexual and trans and all these things. Like I got face value. Yeah, it's good for people to be educated about that, to be, you know, to learn not to discriminate against those people. I think that's fair.
Absolutely.
I think when you bring in like pornography into an elementary school, I think that's a problem.
That's when, that's when's the issue for sure.
But that's the problem with wokeism is like there's no distinction. Yeah. Like if you criticize that, then it's like, oh, you are on this side. And like, no, that's a ridiculous idea.
It's just like it's like we're not supposed to all be monolithic. Like if we're humans with like our own like human narrative, like why do you expect all our narratives to be completely the same? Like that doesn't make any fucking sense. Like this whole utopia idea, it just comes from immaturity again, which like religion like becomes from like a space of like immaturity, you know, of just like thinking that everybody needs to be on the same page as this any other. And to your point with the LGBTQ thing, like that's a lot of people's arguments against that is like, oh, like, well, kids shouldn't be exposed to this young because they don't understand it. Like that's not statistically right, you know, like kids understand like the differentiation between shit at like, I think my friend who like does the statistics on that is like at like 11, 12 months and shit. So it's just like
months?
You know? Yeah. Months.
Oh wow.
People don't think about this. I have a friend who like is a professor at Augustana who actually like did a study on it and stuff like that. You know, so like it's one of those things where like I'm like, I push back on it, but at the same time, like I understand people's qualms. So again, I'm like, you can be nuanced in that, but that nuance can't exist in the church of liberalism, you know, and liberalism again also like religion, it has an enemy to make itself look bigger and believe itself to have a good fight, the good fight. Its enemy is conservatives, like just like to Christians, it's sinners, you know, and like they base a lot of their belief system, a lot of their action on like shaming the other side, or like putting people on the other side and shaming the other side to make themselves look bigger. And it's just like, yeah, like that's why I don't really like. And not to say that side doesn't exist with conservatives too. You see that with conservatives all the time.
Oh,
like,
sure.
Oh, you being a snowflake. I had this one like super like white conservative dude like in his like late 60s. be mad at my book and stuff like that. Like somehow I didn't even
I
know.
think you told me about. I think
This is a
last
different
time.
guy. That other
Oh,
dude,
dude.
yeah,
He got all
Texas
these
dude.
white bitches
I already-
all pissed on your book.
But it's like, oh, of course a snowflake would say that's like, bro, first of all, like I will beat you up. Like I'm not one of these little liberals, dude. Like you will get beat up. Like since you're 60-year-old, you want to be like, you want to be like show your allegiance to your country, cool. But like, don't bring that my way. Like I'm not one of these like snowflakes who over here will Facebook you. I will fight you.
I'm gonna tell you right now, if I don't like your book, I'm gonna burn it.
Hey, you know what? It's okay. I don't mind it. Just take a slow video of it and stuff like that.
Mushrooms.
We were on mushrooms. Yeah, Zach and I had to go get the van with the rest of our band.
So yeah, as I get back to our campsite, Hank tells me they said now's the time to go to get the van inside. So we're like, all right. I just ate mushrooms, so like let's start walking. We have a 3-mile walk to the van where it's parked with our trailer and all of our gear, and
we're both starting to peak.
We're like the mushrooms are hitting us hard on this walk.
So you guys were on like on different like planes, like different timelines?
I was also tripling.
I mean, yeah, we were all tripling.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Lots of triples.
There's lots of tripling.
But yeah, I know what you mean. Like sometimes you're not on the same
Yeah, you take them at different times.
same
you're on
wave.
different-
Yeah, I don't know. Somehow we all
seemed to all just kind of meld together.
Yeah, it worked. And so yeah, we get to the van, we drive it back, they let us in, and we get like an amazing
Unloaded all of
parking
our gear.
spot that shouldn't have even
The
been
perfect
there.
parking spot, like right
the
by our campsite.
The universe just like aligned.
Mm-hmm.
The whole
Yep.
Thank the gods.
We started pushing our gear in, and we're struggling, and we're like, we gotta do it, we gotta do it. And their team's like, you guys need some help? They bring over golf carts and start driving our gear in for us, and we're like, yep, that works.
Security guy comes up. Hey, okay, yep.
Yep. And the guys we've been fist bumping
bumping
for
the whole
3
time through.
days, like.
Homie had a sick handlebar mustache, just like fucking fist bumping everybody.
And we played a sick show. Like we played like an hour and 15 minutes, I think.
Yep.
Dude, at the beginning, you said, I guess we're just going to play until they shut us down. And then we played all of our bangers. And I was like, I don't know, what are we going to do now? Well, we could just jam. And so we just started jamming on something. We got maybe 2 minutes into that. And that's when they came shut us down. So, like, that was the best ending.
Yeah,
that
it was
the
perfect.
best ending.
Yeah, so the festival owner,
Pretty sure.
after we had been, like by the security, by vendors, we've been camping with other artists all weekend. Like the owner of the festival comes up pissed.
Yeah, he's
like
furious.
Who the fuck did you talk to? Who
Yeah.
did you didn't talk to anyone to set this up? Like, what are you doing? And like
you're
he's
using our power. Our headliner's playing right now. Like, what are you guys doing?
and I'm still tripping hard.
But he ended up.
And I'm the front.
Hard.
I'm like up front, middle, and he comes to me, and I'm like, I pointed at Hank. I'm like,
That's how it happened.
I don't know. I was like, Hank, you have to talk to him. I'm tripping
I
too
talked
much
him
right
down.
now.
I was like, yeah, man, I totally understand. Yeah, like I didn't realize the headliner was playing. Like my fucking customer service voice kicked in hard. I'm like, yeah, my bad, totally, dude. You're totally right. And he went from like chewing my head off to being like, you know what, like. I respect what you guys are doing, like, trying to get out there and hustling, but you got to go through the right channels, man. You got to talk to the right people. And I was like, yeah, man, I should have fucking got his number, but no, it was
heat of the moment. It was crazy.
It could have been a lot worse. Like, I kind of expected us to get
They didn't even like
kicked out.
rush us out. He was like, you just got to shut it down. You're like using our power. And, like,
Yeah, it was
we just
super
packed
chill.
up, chilled. Like Damian Marley's playing the whole time, and we're just like,
Yeah.
This is a great.
And as we're packing up, I got a tap on my shoulder, and someone from behind me says, "You guys setting up or tearing down?" I turn around, and Eric Wilson, bass player for Sublime, standing behind me, wanting to fucking jam with us, right? And so I'm a little starstruck, like, yeah, let's just set back up. Fuck it, let's screw these guys. Like we got you, right? This is good.
they can't shut us down with you.
Yeah, you can't shut. He just headlined, bro.
So we didn't decide. We didn't do that. But we did have a good talk with Eric, and yeah, he's a really good guy. Shared some new music with us, and
It was sick.
Yeah, Spray Allen. He's got a
is his
side
new band, yeah.
He sent us like their unreleased album,
We listened to Fresno.
and it was tight.
they're a really good band.
But like, there's something about like that battle rap that almost kind of like resembles that, where like you have like this angst, that like you're just getting out, and like I've never done battle rap, but I can imagine that there's something like really satisfying, and like just saying something, because
everybody knows and loves each other, but like everyone wants to talk shit about each other a little bit too, you know. So it's good to kind of like get that out and kind of like just like fuck, you know, it's like busting balls. You're fucking with each other, you
It's
know.
like a debate, big debate.
Exactly.
Hey,
I can
It's like
respect.
hip-hop
I
debate.
respect all them guys. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like,
Every last one
I'm way
that
too
put
sensitive.
it into that art.
As soon as you be like, I fucked your mom and fuck your kids can't read. I'm like, what? Like what? You know what I'm saying? My kid is actually struggling with reading. You know what I'm saying? Like, that shit hurts. You know what I'm saying? You can't talk to me like that. And we're gonna be tussling. Like, man, that shit's disrespectful, dog. I can't take. Like, you say that shit to me, I be like, you felt that? You really feel that way? That's why you say it in front of all these fucking people. You know, like
they do the research on this shit.
I can't go, man. Hey, much respect to all battle rappers.
If you were to guesstimate and surmise, what do you think is the reason that those two did that day?
It's a really that's a difficult question to answer in one sentence.
Yeah.
It's a weird combination of, like, Eric Harris. That dude was messed up, you know.
Mhm.
And I think that if he hadn't met Dylan and he hadn't shot up Columbine down the road, he would have done something stupid. He would have killed somebody, or he would have done him. But honestly, the story that's more like, oh man, is Dylan. Dylan Klebold was a guy who, by all accounts, a really sweet kid. Growing up, he was really nice, and he was really shy and quiet, and he got bullied pretty bad. I mean, he and Eric both did, and Brooks was like right there with him for a lot of that. And Dylan was very much, you know, he was the follower type. He was a people pleaser, and something happened where Eric Harris got into Dylan's head. And if you think about how sometimes, you know, there are people who have talked about the basement tapes that Eric and Dylan recorded where they talked about what they were going to do. And they've said, you know, I don't believe for a second that Dylan was just going along with Eric because he's super enthusiastic on those videos and he's talking about all the people he's going to kill and all that. And I'm like, yeah, but typically whenever you see somebody who is trying to impress someone who they're following the example of, they're going to be super vocal about it.
Yeah,
they're the ones that are like, you know, oh yeah, rah, rah, we're going to do this. And usually the person who's the instigator, who's actually leading it, is kind of just quietly sitting there, you know.
Yeah, he was maybe almost even trying to like convince himself in a way.
Yeah,
you know?
I there's a number of other things. You know, there was the bullying culture at Columbine. There was the need for a power trip that both of them had. That Eric was, you know, that dude was crazy. I mean, Eric Harris was not a good person. And Eric brought Dylan into it with him. And in the end, I mean, I'm not making any excuses for Dylan Klebold, because in the end, Dylan was every bit as much of a murderer as Eric Harris was. But I don't think Dylan Klebold would have gone and shot, you know, he would not have killed 13 people on his own. That was something he was led into by Eric Harris. And I think also, you know, they had like this sense of grandeur. They wanted to make this big impact. That they talked about how there was going to be a movie made about the shooting, and they were talking about which director would be best for it. You know, they had like a plan written out where if by some miracle they managed to get out of the school, that they were going to hijack a car and they were going to drive it to the airport, hijack a plane, and crash it into New York City. They wrote that in 1999, which is really creepy to think about. Yeah. But I mean, yeah, they had this like crazy, we're going to do this thing. And, but I mean, and there's a number of other things that go into it. You know, there are psychiatrists who could probably put together a much better picture.
Yeah.
But it's much easier to tell you what didn't cause Columbine, which was, it wasn't caused by Marilyn Manson, and it wasn't caused because they played Doom. Like, that's the dumbest thing. And if you want to talk about things that could have been done to prevent Columbine, if the police had followed up on Brooks's police report, that probably would have done it. If there hadn't been loopholes at a gun show so that people could buy weapons for them, you know, that would have helped. There's so many other places that we could be trying to seek reform and say, hey, if we do this, things like Columbine won't happen anymore. But, it's way easier and way more sensational to say, well, Marilyn Manson, he messes with kids' heads. That's why it happened. And you know what? They wore black trench coats. If you see a kid that's all wearing all black, that's going to be the next school shooter. We got to frisk those kids when they walk into school. It's insane and very frustrating that people, and you see it now, that people are so quick to embrace the easy explanation, the easy solution, that people don't want to sit down and critically think about stuff and ask hard questions of themselves. It's much, much easier to blame somebody else or blame some anonymous media thing than it is to go, hey, maybe we had a hand in this. Maybe there's something we could do differently rather than what they need to do differently.
Here's my biggest argument, I guess, is like so much of these conspiracy theories and things like that, like they hold partial truths, or I understand where they come from and what makes them what they are, but at the same time, I would definitely argue that they are, you can punch holes in them just as easy with, and I'm not trying to be like mean, but like a basic education. Like I took 2 economics classes at a community college, and there's so many things that people say about the economy where I'm just like, take macro and microeconomics 101 each. Like I think they were technically 130 and 131 in my college, but like still, it's like take the 2 basic economics classes and you'll just be like, oh, 80% of the shit I said before this point about money was bullshit. And just be like, oh, that's why these conspiracy theories and people don't understand it because nobody does that kind of research. And I get it that the world's not made up of a whole bunch of people that are curious and want to do the research or like want to go back to school and relearn things that they think they might know more about. But going back to community college and like learning about things like this is how biology works. And it's like everyone's freaking out about COVID. And it's like, I get it. Like COVID's a bad deal. But at the same time, based on just like general biology, it's kind of like there's not really a whole, like there's stuff we can do to minimize it, but there's nothing you can do to prevent any of this stuff, like in some of the capacities. And then people were all freaked out about, vaccines, and it's like, well, in the general sense of vaccines, I'd be like worried for these reasons, but mostly vaccines are like not terribly gonna like absolutely kill you and like, but they could be altering your DNA. It's like, well, you can just take basic educational classes to argue points that like people just see a talking point like on a headline online and re-spew into your face. And it's like, that's the thing that turned me into I don't care because I just don't have energy or time to argue these points.
When we shoot movies, there's been times where we're like, it almost felt like I'm babysitting, not to disrespect my actors at all, but like from my perspective,
we're hosting,
because we're hosting, it's our set. They didn't know this place existed before we sent them the address and told them to pull up, right? So they're at this warehouse shooting a fight scene or whatever the hell's going on, and I'm like, I start to see the yawns. I start to see the drop in posture. I start to see the mindless scrolling on Facebook waiting for their scene. I'm like, fuck. I'm like, Juan, we need to get some pizza here to buy us another hour. Because as soon as they eat,
it really does buy them.
It buys us like another hour and a half. People start making jokes again. People are like, okay, we've heard we get those scenes right while everyone's energies are high. So like the conversations we have on set are very much like it's like there's 2 quarterbacks on the field. Saying, I'm like, hey, bro, I'm going to throw this pass. You're going to catch it. It's like, all right, bet. When I get there, I'm going to throw a pass back to you. And then, because we just don't want anyone to ever see any frustration. We don't want anyone to ever see, we don't think our cast should be having to solve problems that are our responsibility.
Nah, they should only be focusing on the acting, you know, because
on their responsibilities.
I know if like I was an actor and like, like I was told to like, go get some duct tape or like, go like help hold this boom pole, I'd be like, okay, but like I'm not focusing on the next scene. Yeah. Like my next like scene that I have to like be really emotional in or something like that.
In the indie film community, it's very hard to do that because a lot of people aren't getting paid. So it's like, hey man, can you just like hold this boom pole? Of course I can, man. I'm just a non-paid actor, Yeah. But for us, it's like we really want to like establish. Like, there's been times where actors have helped us out, but it's been like our close friends, like people that like would be helping us out even if they weren't in the movie type thing. But if it's like a first time appearance, like we want to make sure that they understand that we respect their time and like the film community is much more different from the music video community, especially because you want to make sure you please everyone, whereas a music video, you only have to please the artist, essentially.
Yeah.
The artist is like the person paying you, right? If his entourage is being disrespectful, it's on him to say something. Or if we're working with a singer and her manager's late, it's like, well, that's on them, right? But now if someone's late, well, that's on us because we casted someone who's unprepared. Exactly. We should have known this person was not going to be punctual, or we should have pushed this scene back and communicated with them more. Like, you can't really blame anything else on your actors when you make a movie. Like, unless it's literally something like they don't know their lines or they're super late. Other than that, it's like, it's on us, bro. It's on us. We didn't tell her to wear black shoes. We should have told her to wear black shoes. You know, or he didn't bring his red car because we were going to do a scene with him driving.
Oh my gosh.
But he didn't drive. He Ubered.
The amount of times actors have forgotten props that were so essential, we're just like, all right, we gotta film it another way. Then we can still get it done, but we just gotta like not show the thing now, or we'll get it in an insert shot later, like whatever.
And that's the fun part about music videos. It's so much more easier to do that.
Yeah.
All in all, it's just more attention to detail. Just everything from the social interactions to like shooting the actual movie. The lighting setups are much more like dramatic.
And I feel like with music videos too, you can like be more experimental too. Like you don't have to worry about like consistency from like scene to scene. You can pretty much just like do whatever, you know what I mean? And it'll fit because it's a music video.
Yeah. Whereas if we did a scene where you got up from this table and walked this way, and then we switched angles, but then when we switched angles, we noticed that bottle wasn't on the table anymore.
Yeah.
We'd be like, well, what the fuck happened when he put down the bottle? Did it like disappear? Like, you know, and that's just attention to detail. That could be ruined as far as we get the one scene action and then some guy just comes with, hey man, I'm thirsty. Ooh. And now we think, oh, we'll put the bottle back. But oh no, but he also drank from it. So now it's half full. So now it's like, it's not only about it being there, it's about it being there and being the same fullness that it was when it left, because we literally had a close-up of the table. Whereas if we shot it up high when we didn't see the table, now it's not an issue. So it's all these variables that lead to other variables of things. So you have to figure out which road you're going to take that's not going to create 4 other detours along the way. You have to make sure you take the most concise path each time.
Let me ask you a random question. What do you think about nihilism?
What do I think about nihilism?
Yeah.
I think it can get really depressing.
That's fair.
But I don't know. I think never really. No, I'm not gonna lie. I've never really thought about it before. Cause like I know what it is, and I've got a couple buddies that are more depressed than me and really see things in a nihilistic perspective. But I would say that in the right circumstances, it can be a useful perspective.
I agree.
But I think in the overarching scheme of things, it's... I shouldn't say like unnecessary, because everything is somewhat necessary, I think, at least when it comes to perspective. But I would say it can cloud your judgment, because like I'm having depression and everything. Like I'm used to seeing things through a pessimistic lens, but at the same time, it's like I don't think anything is that dark.
Well, I don't think nihilism is necessarily pessimistic. I think it's just acknowledging that there's no purpose.
Oh.
I don't think that I think you can take that in a positive mindset. I don't think it needs to be pessimistic.
Right. Yeah, and I can see what you mean in that regard. But yeah, I think it's like it's one of those things where it really just depends on your situation and how you're looking at things. In that case, then, because it's like you can look at it with a positive light. It's like, yeah, there's no purpose. I can do what I want. Yeah, like.
Yeah, well, there's something like really freeing in that, I feel like. Yeah. You know. But sorry, what you were saying?
But I think that I think it's just one of those things that I don't really think that there is I don't think it's a one size fits all kind of thing.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
Sure.
What are your thoughts on the JFK assassination? You have some wild. I don't know if you've actually really talked about it on your show, so I'm giving you the opportunity.
Okay. I think we've
maybe briefly.
It's always been briefly, and I always try not to be offensive because I don't want anyone to get mad about my JFK thoughts.
All those Kennedy.
No, because like I don't want to because I'm someone who's not the biggest fan of conspiracy theories. There's some conspiracy theories I love, but I think some conspiracy theories give validation to the worst conspiracy theories.
I looked to Logan when you said conspiracy.
Yeah.
Because I really thought that the historically inaccurate conspiracy
song was about to play.
Was going to start.
We talk about conspiracy theories, and
usually
we kind of crap on conspiracy theories. But the JFK one, if there was one conspiracy theory out there that I genuinely believe, it's that JFK was taken out for suspicious reasons.
So you believe he was affiliated with the mafia, correct?
I believe that he genuinely was like, hey, I want to do something good. And I actually wanted to or he was just being petty about the CIA, and was like, if you guys don't do what I want to do, I'm gonna expose you. And it's just like in a movie where they're like, oh, you're gonna expose me? Dead. But I also, I think I think that could be real, but I also think the mob connections are very real too, because it was such a standard mob thing. The guy who assassinates John F. Kennedy then gets shot by a member by a guy who claims to be a part of the mafia. Yeah. It's like, it kind of, I don't know. There's a lot there
Retaliation.
where I genuinely, if I had to believe in one conspiracy theory, it would be the JFK assassination not being as cut and dry as it was given to
But
me.
how fun is the JFK assassination
It's a fun
conspiracy
one.
theory?
It's a fun one. Probably not fun for the Kennedys.
No.
But fun for
But like
us.
on a scale of 1 to Sasquatch.
We've
1 to
rated the JFK
I know, and I'm
assassination.
bringing
We
it
said
to
it's
the Paul
fun.
McAllister show.
What's yours? Which one do you think's real? Like, what do you think happened with the Kennedy thing?
I think whatever you think happened.
Thank you, man.
I don't have.
appreciate
I don't have
that.
enough
true ingenuity, right?
Yeah,
there.
I don't have
That's
enough
original thought.
No, I don't have enough information on this.
Thanks, man.
To have an opinion.
To be honest, I don't either. But so, who do you think shot him? Do you think it was still Harvey Lee Oswald, or do you think it was someone else?
That's the part that I always get the most tripped up on, because like as a kid, I really believed all the stuff where it's like, no one can make that shot. They hired the #1 sniper in the world to take that shot, and he missed. And I like believed it, and then I looked into it, and it's like, actually, it is a difficult shot, but it's not as impossible as certain websites say it was.
Yeah.
So I do think he easily could have just gotten lucky and actually done that shot. I don't believe there's a conspiracy.
Who, Harvey Lee Oswald?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think Oswald did it, but it's interesting.
Well, he was military trained.
Yeah.
So
well,
it's not completely.
Yeah, so he was trained by the military, then he actually defected to the USSR, and that's what they used as that. They're like, he was a Russian extremist. That's the part, like, that could be very true, honestly. That's the thing is, like, it could be true, or there could be, like, the CIA, like, my belief is that part's true, and the CIA had, like, knowledge of that, but instead of being like, hey, JFK, we're going to help you, they're like, oh, hey, JFK, you're a dick to us. We're not going to warn you. Good luck, bud. And then he just, bam, dead.
Wow, that's pretty petty.
And then the mafia was happy that they died.
Welcome to America.
But then there were...
Oh, you must have just gotten here.
Yeah, assassinated. Then there was rumors that Oswald, who was off his rocker, was going to claim that the mafia paid him to do it. So to make him not put anything on the mafia whatsoever, because everyone always talked about the Kennedys' connection to the mafia, they're like, just kill him. Just take him out. Who cares? So I think it could have been a combination of just all the right pieces fitting into the perfect puzzle to make it unrecognizable of what the truth is. But I do think Oswald got lucky and just took him out. I think the driver shooting Kennedy is the dumbest conspiracy out there, though. They're like, this one picture definitely shows him holding a gun. I'm like, no!
Even there's like 3 other people in the car. Or
Yeah.
something.
And also,
3 other...
I'm sure he did have a gun.
Yeah.
You know, he's
Yeah,
probably a
that's a good
Secret
point.
Service guy.
Dude, it's
He's in
crazy.
Texas.
And he's in Texas.
I pretty much had to take a good look to myself, and plus, what helped was shrooms to kick it off. So,
Shrooms, like mushrooms?
yeah.
Oh, fuck yeah, fuck. So is that your go-to psychedelic?
Yeah, I tried acid once, but it is kind of
Really?
Yeah.
See, I'm the inverse, man. Every time I've only taken mushrooms like 5 times, but like most of the times I've taken it, I've had like violent urges to like hurt people.
Yeah.
Which is really unlike me. Like I'm not like a violent guy at all.
Well, it's probably like something that you're
While he's over here shivering,
like
don't hit me.
like something that you're kind of like not dealing from the past. You kind of get what I'm saying? Like for me, I kind of had a bad trip once, and I never did. It was my very first one. Like I was seeing like fucking white faces around the corner and all this. Like yeah, it was bad. So like I was just like freaking out. But you know,
did you learn anything from that though?
Oh hell yeah! Like what I learned from it is that I had to let go of a few things, you know, stuff, because I was kind of like you. Because I kind of have an anger problem too, but I kind of like tell you the truth. Weed and mushrooms kind of help, you know, so kind of like leveled me out. You know,
I see. So kind of took away some of those angry urges and kind of just flattened you, like made you more calm.
Like the mushrooms helped me like dealt with it, like you're gonna do with it right then and there and stuff.
Yeah.
But that's why I kind of like doing those too, because like, you know, it helps like mentally, you know, so.
Yeah, I really loved acid. I've taken acid about probably 15 times.
I only took it once, and I don't know. Tell you the truth, it's not really for me because it's just on a little strip.
Yeah, the strips are weird.
Yeah.
But I mean, they always say like the first time you take acid, it's always a bad. I don't know, maybe that's not true, but like I've heard that from a lot of people. Like the first time you trip, it's kind of shitty, and then the second, third time is when it gets good.
Yeah, when it comes.
Yeah, when it first comes, like I remember the first time I tripped, I freaked out because time was just like infinite. Like you would look at your phone, you would do all this shit, and then you look at, I'm like, oh my god, only 5 minutes have passed. And then you start rapidly thinking like, oh, it's gonna be forever and forever and forever.
Hell yeah, man! Like you think like, man, this is how the world really is right now at that moment. But when you come down and like start looking back, you're like, man, what the hell was I thinking? Because like one time, like I was tripping, right, and for some reason, the only way I could climb up the stairs was on all fours. Like, you know, kind of like a little bear or something like that. I was going up the stairs on all fours and stuff. And I forgot we had a cat. And it was, like, fucking with me because, like, the cat must have knew I was tripping. So he kept by, be like, man, what the hell is this? What the hell is he doing? Because I was looking at the cat, be like, just rubbing my eyes, be like, man, this can't be real. This can't be real. Then my sister was upstairs. I went up, knocked on the door.
How old were you? You said?
At this time, I was probably like, what was it, 21?
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
like I was like I was kind of up there. I didn't do like mushrooms till like later on and stuff.
Okay. Bet.
But like, well, yeah, like mushrooms they're fun.
Yeah, I don't know. For me, it's the opposite. Yeah. Like that's kind of the thing I don't really like about some like I'm 100% like pro drugs, pro weed. Like I think everything should be legalized.
Oh hell yeah!
But I don't like the culture that's kind of back the marijuana where it's like it pushes mushrooms to be the same thing. Like I feel like with the legalization in these states, it's been like these people like, oh yeah, you like weed? Like try some mushrooms, and it's like, no man, shit's completely different.
Well, I see it like this. Like you gotta start off small. Like you can't like
for sure.
Because with me, I go all in. So the most I ate was probably half an ounce. So yeah, like I'm pretty. But like
that's 14 grams, right?
Yeah, like
Jesus Christ, bro. I knew this guy that would take like 7-gram pills. It would just be powdered, and you would just like pop a pill.
Value is an interesting concept in and of itself, though,
exactly.
too, to like place on something. You know, you're finding a lot of that these days, where like a lot of markets are super inflated. I spend a lot of time like with like looking at the used gear market, debating whether or not I should buy and or sell certain things that I may or not want, and it's weird. Like the used gear market for everything is just outlandish. Like anything that's over 20 years old is retro, and everything's worth $1 million because it's ultra rare, you know. And I mean, they're not really that rare, but you're finding people that are like there's certain guitars I like, but there's people that will like buy them and then part them out because the parts of them are worth more because they've bought one and it's missing parts and they want those parts on there now, you know, whether it be like knobs or certain things like tuners or something, you know.
Damn, that's sad.
And it's pretty junko, but yeah. I don't know. This is like a fun conversation because I don't know how we got back on this topic here, but
you're on the McAllister Hours, man. That's what happens.
That's how it happens. You know, I don't know. Yeah, I do have that's probably like my favorite and least favorite thing about like playing guitar is like liking gear and then trying to like find the right gear that you want to use at shows. Like I kind of covered that in a recent podcast episode on my podcast, but like it's you know, I don't know. It's crazy. It's weird to like find special deals on certain things that people don't know what they have, and you show up and you're like, hey, I'm just letting you know this is what it's worth. Like else, you know, if you're still willing to sell it, you know, and trying to at least be a nice guy about it. And it's fun because a lot of times like people are just like, I don't care, just take it, and it's like, okay, you know. So
one time I brought in a guitar to the Guitar Center, and it was worth less than $10.
Oh my gosh. To them. Oh yeah, I could see that being a thing, but
I was like, no, whatever.
You know, like you might like, I don't want to be like, hey, but like pawn shops and guitar shops are not what they used to be because there just aren't many of them. So like it's tough to get a justifiable amount anywhere other than selling it firsthand. So that's what a lot of people choose to do these days, is just like put it on Facebook Marketplace, you know. But it's kind of funny getting on there too, because you can see guitars that are literally like, this guitar market value is literally like, is not over $100, and someone mistakes it for some like a $400 guitar, because a lot of them look really similar. So if you don't know what you have, or it's missing some of the certain badges to let you know what model it is, it's like, you know, this is a Epiphone Les Paul, and it's like, yeah, that could be anything. You know, there's $80 ones and there's, you know, $1,000 ones. It could be anything.
So like when you talk about like patches, because I've played guitar for several years myself. Like what, like how's, I mean, you don't have to get into too specific, but like what are like the general things that you know determine like what kind of specificity it is in terms of what guitar it is?
Oh,
and like in terms of like, you know, you're saying like it's whether it's really this guitar or not, you know, how do you determine that?
Oh, I mean, like certain guitars have like certain giveaways. So like Fender, the easiest thing would be like, does it say Fender or Squier? Squier is like the low end Fender. They look just like Fenders. They're kind of made by Fender, quote unquote, overseas usually. But yeah, Squier stuff, if it says Squier instead of Fender, that's usually just a cheaper guitar. But like Fender, then on the headstock, it'll tell you if it's made in Mexico or not. And so like the Fender ones are usually Mexico or America. There are some Japanese ones out there as well, but those are like, you know, just things like that. Like Gibson guitars usually have something on the headstock that's just like, this guitar is obviously a Les Paul shape, but the headstock says, you know, Studio Custom. So it's like, oh, it's a Les Paul Studio Custom, you know, or whatever. Then you start to look like, you know, you start to figure out what kind of models you like on guitars or what kind of certain things you enjoy. And that's like the benefit I have. I've gone to so many different jam nights and played so many different people's instruments where it's like, you know, I almost don't need a guitar shop anymore. I've got enough peers and friends that I've played with where it's like, I got to try certain guitars out. And there's some guitars out there, ironically, like nowadays that are super cheap, and they're like, this not only looks great, but it plays great. So,
yeah.
You know, the market is kind of weird out there. I think there's going to be a point in time where there's going to be a huge shift because there's companies overseas making guitars that are so good that, like, America can't keep up unless they charge way too much for it, you know? That's the unfortunate part.
No, I think there's a mental aspect to video gaming that isn't, you know, is distinct from like, you know, just watching the Netflix, watching the TV.
Yeah,
like,
it's not just like zoning out.
Yeah, and they've even done like studies where like overall it helps like your brain and your hand-eye coordination.
Hand-eye coordination for
like,
sure.
It's like, I think it's indisputably a better activity to like play a video game than sit on your ass and watch 4 or 5 hours of Netflix or TV or whatever.
Which, I mean, we're all guilty of. We've all done it.
Sure.
We're on a fucking
you
movie.
still got to get up every day, and if you're not hitting your 10,000 steps a day, you're fucking up. And you got to get all that shit done.
10,000.
I mean, you do. If you want to
That's
make it
weird, dude. I get 20 every day. I don't know what you're talking about.
No, but I mean, that's you got to get up, get your water. Got to get your 2 liters of water. 10,000
2 liters,
but. You know,
are these real life?
I drink 2 liters of Mountain Dew.
Yeah,
for sure.
A game.
Gotta do
yeah, Code Red, baby. I'm hashtag Code Red.
Too much of anything's a bad thing is what I'm getting.
So let me ask you this: of the video game stereotypes, what do you think you match up with? Like, what are you guilty of?
Whoa. I mean, I guess I don't know. I guess I would have to see a list of the stereotypes.
What are the stereotypes?
Yeah,
I don't know. Like lives in his mom's basement, you know, overweight, drinking Code Red all the time, and spending hours.
We drink whiskey. We're in decent shape.
Yeah, I mean, I think
whiskey's already a tier.
No, yeah, okay. Yeah. So you're going like the extremism things. I mean, I feel like of course those exist.
Yeah.
I feel like what's cool about our channel is like obviously our channel is dedicated to gaming, and we're hardcore into gaming.
Yeah,
but we put out a lot of content, but that not necessarily means that we're hardcore gamers. I feel like we kind of appeal to the casual gamer. Like, we're casual gamers. Yeah, we might game more than most people, but we're still casual gamers. Like, I'll go to the Up Down and play casually. Like, I'm not, you know what I mean? I'm not like freaking playing World of Warcraft for 20 hours straight. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's moderation in everything. You know, if you get hardcore into the gym, You could say, you know, there's gamers. There's the hardcore guy eating Cheetos in his basement, like the South Park episode, and he dies.
He's so good at the game.
Well, the other side of the paradox is the guy that gets way into weightlifting and starts shooting roids, and he has his heart blow up at 35.
But I will say he looks fucking great.
It looks great when he dies.
He looks so good.
But
that's a great coffin right there.
Yeah,
Is that
yeah.
guy.
But I think it's all relative. You know, if you get up, you go to work every day, and whatever. You know, I think most people maybe have 2 to 3 hours a day of where they can choose how they entertain themselves.
Yeah, you can't let it control you.
Yeah,
it's just what you want to do. With
But what do
your
you
time.
do when the lights go out, man? I can't listen to somebody that sits at home saying, "Hey, yeah, I watched Netflix for the last hour and a half of my day." Condemn me for playing Mike Tyson's Punch Out for the last hour and a half of my day. I mean, that doesn't make any sense.
What's crazy is, they watched Ozarks.
Yeah,
but you took down Mike fucking Tyson.
Yeah, what'd you do?
So who's fucking? You know, what I mean?
You're working towards something.
He's the world heavyweight champion, and you took him down. So who wins?
Yeah, I agree. I was watching like a Snapchat story of like the Amber Heard shit, which I don't even know why I fucking find myself wasting time. I think it's because she's hot. I think that's the reason that Amber Heard.
Oh, that Johnny
Depp. She's a crazy cunt, but she's.
It's a crazy time we live in. Yeah, because I'm hearing what's being said, and I'm like, man, I hope what I'm hearing is like not really what's going on of a woman who beat up on a man and then use that against him in public eye and ruin his life. You know, I really hope that is not really what's going on, because that is now the thing happening in 2022.
Yeah, believe all women.
I will definitely I will definitely believe anything toward anything women wise that is factual and actually happened. Like,
legitimate.
I'm all for that. But when it gets to a point of like you're trying to tarnish somebody intentionally when they didn't really do it, that's when it's just, you know, a fine line drawn, because you're ruining somebody's life.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you watch like footage from her private trial, and the current trial, like the same material and completely different reaction. You know, it's so painstakingly obvious. And I think it really attributes to how narcissistic this woman is. To like still be going at this point with like, because she can't like not be seeing the shit on TikTok. Didn't they take a week? I think they took a week. I read that today. They took like a week in the middle of the trial off. It's like there's no fucking way that she didn't like catch, like at least see like a fraction of all the bullshit. Not the bullshit, but like the shit that she's getting for everything on TikTok, like, you know, the internet.
I really hope she's aware of like everything that's going on, because like I'll go on social media and I'd see every so often of little clips, especially like the whole nose and tissue situation.
The coke.
Like, did you really just snort some shit in court and think that like the whole world, like, I see you doing that shit?
The bitch took the tissue, paused for a shoot, and then snorted cocaine out of it.
I'm like, you are bold.
Did you see the one with the water bottle?
No, what happened with that one?
There was one where she was like drinking a water bottle, and then like one of the officers walks by and she just like puts it in her pocket. There's speculation that it was alcohol. And she had like 2 different water bottles. It also shows like how out of touch the justice system is for like all these things are going on.
And here I want to think that's not really what's going on, but it's really what's going on.
Yeah, well, at the very least, it should be talked about, right? They should be like going over it. They should be like, "Hey, leaking footage. It looks like the defendant might be using substances in the courtroom." Like,
I would have tested her ass right there and there. Like, I would have ran footage and been like, "Yo, so what's this right here that you're doing, or what's this I'm finding in your system?" Because like it's pretty apparent when it's posted all over the world and the whole, like, everybody can see it.
Yeah,
and there's nothing about, you know, any like aftermath, anything being done about it legal wise, if that's what's going on.
And let me say, as a libertarian, I don't even care if she was doing that, but it's a double standard to like have this whole case where she's like trying to throw Johnny Depp under the bus for doing all these drugs, and like she's just as much of a drug user as he is. I mean, I think they're both. I mean, especially if they were married and in a relationship for that long, like you have to be using the same. If he's snorting coke, he's fucking snorting coke with him.
In Washington, I learned about the city called Buxton, Iowa. Have you ever heard of that? So it basically it's a ghost town now.
Okay.
It doesn't exist, but Buxton, Iowa. This was where basically the closest thing you've seen to a market that's not captured. Basically, the coal industry created this town, so it was run by a corporation, and they so they started bringing in people that were black and immigrants from other countries to work in the coal mines. But then, the people that lived in this city needed the services that everybody else needs. So you had, black doctors delivering babies for white women. You had black pharmacists. You had black people that were enforcing the laws. And in every walk of life, all the goods and services that you were being given. And initially, they paid their workers in gold and silver. So this is like the most libertarian existence that I've ever heard of in the country. And so it's like this was during, other places still had Jim Crow. They still had active Klan. A couple miles away, you would have Klan rallies, but they didn't mess with Buxton, Iowa, because the population was more black than white. And, they had a baseball team. This was before you could go and play elsewhere if you were black and play baseball. Like, it was a mixed baseball team. And, they had a black YMCA and just all this. It's just a really fascinating study. You should look into it. Buxton, Iowa.
Fuck yeah,
and so it's like, to me, this is a shining example of what local control and avoiding a captured market can do. You actually had these people that they chose equality and they chose equity, and they lived peacefully. I don't think they had any issues of racial violence during the existence of the town that anyone could recall. But then, the demand for coal went down, and it just kind of became a ghost town. It was like this glimmering, shining moment of hope in history, where people got along and worked together and got paid, the same as the different types of people with different, skin colors and different backgrounds. And it's just a really fascinating study, I think, a cool piece of history that was here in Iowa.
My dad still asks me, how do I tune into your show?
I can't find it in the dial.
Any fucking time, anywhere. You can pull it up on your phone. On my phone. Why would I listen to it on my phone? You don't got to put it up to your ear. Put it on. Never. You know what, man? That's fine. So getting that older generation to understand what a podcast is and the accessibility of it is super important. I think it's catching on big time. And I think like the death of FM radio is prominent here, within the next 20, 25 years. They said that about AM radio too when FM took over, but a lot of people still listen to AM because it has a lot wider reach. It has a bigger distance and it's literally free on everything. But once people understand like that podcasts are free as well, and you can start and stop them anytime you want, you can listen to them over and over again. You don't have to get a certain time.
Exactly.
But what it doesn't provide is the statistics that people are looking for through AM FM radio, which is the time and temperature, the forecast, current events, things that are happening live. So I think there will always be a place for FM and AM radio, but until the podcast world figures out how to put those current events in with their podcast running, that would be the biggest factor, I think.